Welcome to the Culturally Distinct Podcast. This is your boy DJ KO. I'm glad you guys tuned in to the show. Today we have a special show for you guys. Today we got some special treats for you guys. Before we get into the show, I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to do what we do. You guys keep this show running. I thank you guys. To my people that subscribe to the show, I thank you guys. Thank you guys for giving me all the comments and all the information that you guys need to keep this show going. It's two things this month that I want to recognize before we get into the conversation. Everybody know this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So one thing we here on the show, The Culturally Distinct, we acknowledge breast cancer awareness to all my women that either experienced breast cancer or had some type of family member that went through that breast cancer thing. We want to acknowledge that and make sure you guys go get your mammograms and be prepared. Second, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? Did y'all know that?
Yes, sir.
No, I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So this is also mental health awareness. So through our families, through our friends, through our teammates, through our just different parts of life, somebody experience some type of mental health. So we want to make known of that. And if you guys have any issues, anything, make sure you reach out to Dr. Hilton. But we're going to get into that. So today we have a special show today. I say special all the time, but this is a special show. We have a brother here that I think he's been impactful to the culture. This brother here is a New Orleans native. He's a 12-year NFL vet. He's a two-time Pro Bowl champion. I'm sorry.
Super Bowl.
Super
I never
Bowl.
made a Pro Bowl.
Super Bowl. I'm sorry about
My
that. My
hands was very suspect. But they won't catch the ball either, so that was all good.
He's a father.
Yes.
He's a coach.
Yes.
He's a businessman.
Yes.
And he's also a Hall of Famer at
UL.
ULL.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, I want you guys to welcome with me to the show, Mr. Ike Taylor. Hey,
You good.
The next guest that we have on the show, this brother, he came to the show before. He blessed us with his presence. We talked about mental health. We talked about some things that's going on in the athletic community that we need to talk about. Also, he's a New Orleans native also. But he's been in Texas as long as he's been in New Orleans, so he can't claim New Orleans no more. So anyway, but I want everybody else to welcome to the show Dr. Hilton Lasalle. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, brother?
In the building.
Appreciate y'all.
So Ike, how you doing? First and foremost, how
Good
you
morning.
doing,
How
brother?
you doing? How you doing, DJ?
Hey man, I'm doing real well, man. I'm living. Any day above ground is always better
100%.
than beneath ground.
Right.
So for the people that don't know Ike Taylor, right?
Right.
I normally do a check-in on the show. Since it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I normally do a check-in for us with and Doc, you can get into this too also.
I'm gonna let Doc really get into the mental health because I want to learn a few things from Doc.
Okay.
As well.
Okay. And it's nothing, we're gonna get into deep. But I just want to do a check-in for us. How you think you feel, first of all, mentally, before we get into the interview, mentally, how you feel with your business and how you feel personal for us with that.
Mentally, I feel real good.
Okay.
I think I'm at a good place. I think life in general, only the strong survive, and that's not physically, that's mentally.
Right.
So for me, it's like going through adversity. Like I embrace adversity, and I talk about it all the time. I don't think people really know how to cope with adversity, but I love adversity because I want to see where I'm at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you overcoming whatever. So a lot of people, we call it, putting their foot in the fire, or people just don't know how to deal or cope with adversity. But for me, man, I've always, embraced adversity. Tell me something I can't do.
Okay.
And I'm always trying to prove it to you. Or I understand, man, every day ain't going to go as right.
Right.
Or go the same as the day before. So, you just got to figure it out. And you just really got to understand, like, God put things in your life for you to really lean on him.
Yes.
I think when you kind of get successful, we starting to think like it's us.
Right.
But we still got to thank the man. In my mind, we still got to thank the man above. So I've always been that way. So I've always, forever will embrace one, adversity, and two, God.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I lied. God first.
Yeah.
Then adversity, because I know he's going to help me deal or cope with it.
Okay, cool. I want to ask you this. Transition.
Mm-hmm.
I know you played in the league 12 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And before that, let's see. we talk about NFL 12 years, and we said college, which was 3 to 4 years.
3.
And prior to that, high school.
Yeah.
So
4.
we're looking at 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years of playing a sport, right?
Talking about AU, Pop Warner.
So now we going.
I started when I was 8.
Oh wow! So that's what. And you're what? 40 now.
I'm 41.
41. So
Yeah.
I can do my math. What is that? 30.
Close to
32
30
years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So 32 years of routine,
Right.
preparation, routine, schedule, and now after that 12th year, you retire. How does that transition take over now?
Oh man, you got to stay busy. And me staying busy was like training and helping people either getting ready for the combine or
Okay.
if you had a goal and you wanted to lose weight, and me getting into coaching, but you have to stay busy because it got to keep the mind going. It's just like you got a car sitting, that car's no good. It starts to rot. So that car got to be moved every day. It got to be driven every day.
Right.
Same thing with your mind and your body.
Right.
It got to be driven. It got to move. It got to be in motion every day. So I always tried to stay busy. So for me, I didn't know coaching. I didn't know I was going to be that passionate in coaching.
Okay.
You know, so one of my homeboys down, Coach Danny down in Florida, he was like, bro, I need you to help me coach your kid. And I was like, nah, man, I'm just going to be the dad to fall back. I'm just going to give it, give them to you. So 2 years later, I said, you know what, let me just try it. And I tried it, and I loved it.
You loved it, right?
Because it was, at the time, we had 42 kids. First time I ever started coaching, we had 42 kids on the football team. And that's all I thought about was the kids, putting them in good situations, trying to win ball games, and trying to give them what I had in the NFL.
Right.
And that was a brotherhood and a bond.
Right.
So I said, if I can just win these kids over with the brotherhood and the bond and teach them how to be unselfish and everything else, and giving what I had in my mind to them, we can win a lot of ball games. Now, everybody not going to make it to the league,
right? But
at least if we can win a championship, this is what I told them. I said, man, y'all win Coach Ike a championship, I'm buying everybody rings.
Okay.
So
incentive.
Y'all
incentive,
y'all can pass it down to whoever. But for me, it was more of the knowledge. Like, I got kids right now, and it's not trying to knock any coaches in high school, but I got kids now. That Coach Ike, who was running pro-style offense at 8, 10, 12 years old. We get to high school, these coaches don't even know what they're doing.
Right, right.
So that makes me feel good, because now these kids' football IQ is sky high.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But,
that's crazy. You know what? It's funny you say that because, like, say a state like here in Texas, these kids are developed so high, so young. So when they get to, like, say, a normal situation or to a college, they might be like, well, we ran, like, say, a pro style or we ran a West Coast offense when we was 18 years old, and now they're 22. It was like, Coach, we've been doing this for it.
We've been doing this.
These kids are advancing, right? It was crazy.
Very. IQ. This 7-on-7 has taken football to a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So especially on the offensive side. On the defensive side, the reason why I do like the 7-on-7 because now as a defensive player, your IQ got to heighten. Also, you got to be – you're in a tough situation all the time because 7-on-7 is leaning more towards the offense.
Right.
But when you put the pads on, it kind of evens the playing field. But if you can do good on 7-on-7 where there's no refs, you can't really touch the receivers.
Right.
Everybody know where they're going on the offensive side. All you're doing is really reacting. Now you put these pads on, it's like I can enforce my will on you. Okay. And I know what you're about to do. So I agree with you, man. This 7-on-7 really has taken at a young age these kids' IQ.
So let me ask you this: before as the coaching, I heard you say something which was interesting because most good players don't transition over to great coaches because they say that about say for instance like a Nick Saban. Right. He wasn't the best player in the world, but he's a hell of a coach.
Right.
Because I guess or they say like a Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan can never translate that over as that greatness, that ability over to the court or the field. How do you translate that? Because you say you was passionate, you have passion, but how do you have that patience with those kids?
Man, it's simplifying it.
Okay.
Like, so I asked Michael Irvin when I was dealing with Michael Irvin when I was working with him. I said, look, I got a team. How do you, how is y'all playbook? Because I never was an offensive coordinator.
Okay.
He was like, man, we just ran numbers. I said, what you mean we just ran numbers? Like the outside receivers just had numbers. He was like, look, just teach your kids if they playing receiver, all the even numbers are inside,
Right.
all the odd numbers are outside.
Correct.
And I was like, that's what y'all did? Yeah. He was like, man, we'll just do like 8-6-5.
Man, you gave everybody a secret, man. All the DBs just gave a secret, but you supposed to know that, man.
But they can't because it's gonna be called in a huddle anyway.
Right. That's
so it's
right,
not like they're gonna know. So I was like, dang, that's all the way tight. So that's what I started doing. But it's just simplifying it for the kids, and a lot of people don't understand what delivery is.
Okay.
You know, like the old people say, it ain't what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
You know, first of all, I don't curse my kids, and that's why the kids love me. Like, I chastise them, I get mad at them, but
Okay.
I don't curse at them or nothing. Second of all, I just feel like, man, I can say it better than you. I can simplify it better than you. I know a lot of smart people that holds a lot of information in their head, but they can't deliver it out for somebody else to understand. So that's why I feel like I got a edge on a lot of people, man. People just don't know how to deliver that message.
Right.
So, and the delivery ain't got to come across wrong. It's just I can say it better than you. I can simplify it better than you. My
Make 'em understand
adjectives are better than you. I can paint the picture
Right.
better than you, and that's all it is. Like, I'm a visual learner.
Right.
So, and a lot of people like that. So dealing with these kids, you know, they're pretty much visual learners. So I'm always doing some kind of comparison. Like, if you feel like I look at Tua as a trailer. So
Okay.
we're talking about Tua as a trailer, quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. He's a trailer. I look at Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady as a truck.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So when you do them kind of comparisons, you ain't even got to know football. You can know, like, okay, so a truck is pulling a trailer.
Right. Right.
Oh, that makes sense. Like, so Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, them boys can pull their team in need.
Right.
Yes. Also, Tua is a trailer. So Tua needs help around him. Wow. So I always try to use them kind of adjectives to describe, or if I want to get my point across. And that's what I think I'm really cold at.
Well, that's reason. I think that's kind of reason. You have a psychology with it, as far as with your coaching. So let me ask you this: most coaches that play ball, these kids talk trash. All right, coach, you can't do it. You washed up. You old. Do you ever get out there and try to compete with these kids, man? Not to the level of your, NFL level, but for just competing with them. Do you get out there?
Nah, because when I talk, like, I hit low. So, when I talk, I'm going to shut you up for the whole year. But I remember when I was telling somebody this last night, man, Coach LeBeau said, you'd rather be a has-been than a never was.
That's right. That's real.
So, that's how I look at myself. Like, I used to play, but there's a lot of y'all would never play.
Right. Right.
At this level. And I tell people, man, I'm proud to say it. It's 254 people in the world get drafted. It's 64 of me in the world.
Right.
64 of me.
So it's only 64 corners in the league?
That's starting corners.
Starting. Oh, wow.
In the world.
Wow, let's see.
You got 100,000 football athletes between Division I and Division III. That's 100,000. Only 254 get drafted.
And then we talk about,
you break it down by positions, only 64 in the world starting. And you don't even want to talk about quarterbacks and running backs, only 32 in the world starting.
Right. So that's basically, you was blessed.
Very
blessed in that position.
Very.
That's like the odds of that. I'm not a math guy, but what's the odds? That's like
you do better by hitting the lotto.
Right. That's like 1 out of every 10 million.
So when kids get to talking, then I get to talking, then they just leave me alone after that. And that's for the parents too.
Yeah. That's greatness then, man. That's greatness. Hey, we got greatness on the show, y'all. Hey, shout out to greatness on the show, man. I gotta talk about that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know about greatness, but I appreciate it.
So let me ask you this. You have a son that plays also. And where's he?
Orlando, Florida. He's safety for West Orange Hill Dog.
Okay.
Like he's doing what I did. I tell you like this. He's 6 years ahead of me.
Really?
Wow. He about 6 years ahead of me.
Oh wow.
He about 6 years ahead of me. I mean, the dude get up at 5:30 every morning. I ain't gotta tell him nothing.
Really?
I ain't gotta tell him
wow.
nothing. So he gets up, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir kind of kid. Hates school, but still on the honor roll. So he just understand life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but his goal to get to what his dad was, and I think he got a clear shot, a very good shot of doing that. So I was like, look, man, it passed a generation. Your daddy couldn't catch, but you can catch. So we'll just leave it like, and you can bang harder than your daddy. Like he coming downhill, DJ.
So
he coming, man. He coming downhill. He hitting anything that's moving.
Because you more of a cover corner.
I was a banker.
Oh, you was a hitter. You consider as a hitter. Okay.
I did cover the world, but I was a banker. I tell people all the time, my linebackers brainwash me, so they rather me knock somebody out than catch a pick.
I got you.
But it was all about enforcing your will on somebody.
Right. Breaking their will. So let's get into this. You a fellow DB. Deion Sanders, he's doing something
Uncle
awesome
Prime.
in Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he translated NFL play to high school, from high school now to college. And not just any college, but HBCU.
Right.
And we were speaking about that. Like you say, you have your son, he's
right.
playing, so he's going to wind up playing ball, you know, at the next level. So what do you think with these kids now that's, like you said, advanced, for as coming to a HBC, you think Prime is doing something that's going to change the dynamic, or it's going to bring it back to where it was, like in the 70s?
If he stay, so
okay,
we got a Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame scout who just got into the Hall of Fame from the Pittsburg Steelers called Bill Nunn.
Okay,
right here in Texas. So he found the Mean Joe Green, he found the Stalwarts, he found the Terry Bradshaws, he found like all these HBCU athletes, and then you go to the Jerry Rices. Like, man, when you just look at the foundations, from what I know, when you look at the foundation in the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s, all of them came from black colleges.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn near all of them.
Absolutely.
Donnie Shell coming from South Carolina State. Donnie Shell, what blew my mind was when I went to the Hall of Fame for Troy, obviously, but what blew my mind, Donnie Shell had 45 picks as a safety, and it took that man 20-something years later to get in the Hall of Fame. I'm lying, 30-something years later. Now, he led the Pittsburgh Steelers defense with the Mel Blunts.
Right.
He led the Pittsburgh Steelers defense in interceptions in the 70s. It took this man this long to get to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
It blew my mind. It blew my mind. But there you go, another HBCU prototype.
I'm going to tell you what's crazy. I went to, you know Eddie Robinson, right?
Yeah.
So at the time I was coaching at Southern University, and I had the luxury of going to the funeral as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And the announcer, I believe the announcer was somebody, one of the big announcers or whatever, and he asked all the Hall of Famers, NFL Hall of Famers, to stand up. It was 8 of them. I said, hold on. I said he had 8 NFL Hall of Famers at one school, and it's a black school. I said, that blew my mind, man. That image stuck in my mind forever.
Man, listen, we've been the pioneers of this, and I hope Uncle Prime stay.
Mm-hmm.
But a Power 5 school gonna give him some cheese. He might not can't refuse.
Right.
But what he's doing now, he's just opening the world to see what goes on. 1, at black colleges. 2, you know, we've been doing this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta go to a Power 5 school no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they finna get scared. Them people finna get scared if enough of these, you know, former players getting to go in and be coaches at these black colleges.
Yeah.
They and start taking these recruits like they finna, cause now Uncle Prime got, you know, he got the TV going. He got a lot of things going right now. He's showing the world how it's done and the athletes that they do have. So, man, I respect the heck out. Matter of fact, Uncle Prime asked me he was like, do you feel like being a DB coach at the time?
That was my next question. You know I was going there.
At the time, I'm all in with my son, so I can't. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like I can't do it right now. Like my son is my number one priority, so I gotta walk him through. Once I feel like he got it, then I'll venture off somewhere. But right now, my son, shout out to Ivan. My son, he everything. So right now I'm just locked in with him.
Shout out Ivan. What's up, Ivan? How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir.
So look, if the opportunity presented itself, this is a hypothetical, right? I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there, right? If the opportunity presented itself, right, and your son was a senior, right, he's going into his senior year, you got the opportunity to go to say HBCU,
right?
Would you say?
Do it.
You would say, okay,
I gotta wait till he clear.
Okay,
I gotta wait till he going to college.
Got you. So Doc, I see you here. And
See you. He just see you.
I just see you over there, Doc.
I'm good. I'm good. Y'all. I'm learning, bro. I'm learning.
So Doc is a co-founder of the Overtime Academy.
Yes, sir.
Right? Overtime Academy deals with athletes that deal with not just mental health, but they deal with finances. You could go into more. It's finances.
Yeah. The simple version of it is I like to use this analogy. At one point in time, I was doing counseling for kids that were coming out of the foster care system.
Okay.
So they were aging out, and so they no longer had foster homes or parents. And they learned that majority of them became homeless. And so what they discovered is that nobody had that conversation with them about what life looks like after you turn 18. Who's having the conversation with these athletes about what life looks like when you go to a big college?
Mm-hmm.
You get drafted by the pros. You got millions of dollars. You know, you changing, family changing, you know, relationships changing, people wanting and pulling. Who's having that conversation? The only people could have that conversation with former athletes to serve as mentors, to have that conversation about, you know, Israel, you know, our co-founder, partner, you know, we talked to maybe about 40, 50 athletes over the last year, high-level athletes. And some of them came from two-parent homes, professional, educated people who had, you know, $200,000, you know, salary lifestyle.
Right.
You said my parents couldn't tell me about $30 million. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We talk about that all the time. Like, people was like, well, what about your financial advisor? My financial advisor is, you know, he looking at my money. So how he gonna know what to do with my money?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And how my mama gonna know what to do with my money?
Right.
Like this is generational wealth I'm talking. So
Right.
we can't go to nobody.
Right.
Unless somebody, like, I was fortunate enough to have, like, the Casey Hamptons, the James Ferriers, the Heinz Wards, the Jerome Bettis, to sit me down and be like, young pup, this what the hell you need to do with your money. Even Mr. Rooney. Like, I was like, Pawpaw used to call him Pawpaw Rooney, R.I.P., Pawpaw Rooney. I was like, man, I want to start a business. He said, for what? He said, your body is your business. He said, don't get caught in this, start your own business. He said, you ever heard of interest? I said, no, sir, what the hell is that? He said, the money I'm about to give you, just let it sit in the bank and you can live off it for the rest of your life.
That's right.
He said, I'm going to give you a few numbers. So he gave me, like, every 2 years, he gave me a number to sit my money in the bank. And he was like, pay everything off. And from that point on, you can just sit. He was like, you don't need to. He said, what I'm about to do, you don't need to. I said, okay. Now, he said, now after, if you want to do something, you can do it, but you don't have to do it. So I was just fortunate enough and just blessed to be around people who just, like, you know, guided me financially.
Right.
Financially. So you still got to go through it. I blew a lot. Thank God I saved a lot, but, you know, ain't nobody teaching us that. And the people who teaching us, they never had it. So.
Right. So that goes back to what Doc said. I'm like, so if you get a kid that's 22 years old, coming out of college, and say a team gives them $4 or $5 million or whatever, they never had that type of money in their life.
Right.
It just dropped on.
Forget about the money. It's the mental state of all of this
Right.
stuff.
Right.
I mean, this stuff is traumatizing all the way. We don't want to think of it as traumatized, but you're traumatized, man.
Right.
I mean, you know.
You is, Doc. You is. That's the right word.
And so, you know, with all due respect, you know, you're a little boy transitioning into a man. You know, we teach this in developmental psychology. You scared. You half boy, half man. Mm-hmm. Your brain hadn't fully developed yet from an emotional standpoint, from a cognitive standpoint. You haven't experienced enough wisdom to be able to logically make decisions and process all of these things.
Right.
And so when you start talking about relationship, you're talking about finance, you're talking about decisions, where you're going to live, people telling you what to do, like you talked about earlier, being conditioned with somebody telling you what to do.
Yes.
Now you got to trust these people. You know what I'm saying? So overtime is about having that conversation so the reflection can start happening, so we can partner them with mentors so that they can have avenues to go to so that, okay, if something come up, I know how to access a mental health person. I know how to access a finance person. I know how to access all these different areas that are essential to my mental health because it's all gonna come back to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
ultimately. So you're a scared boy / man with a hell of a lot of responsibility, and the people around you. And I thought about this analogy when Israel talking is, for everybody else around you, it's a business.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
That's right.
And most of them don't know that. It's a passion. But for everybody else around you, and it's not to knock the business. I mean,
Right,
you know,
right.
because we love it, but you got to switch yourself into maintaining your health and then figuring out how do you navigate this new environment that you've never been informed or trained on how to navigate.
Right. No got to be your favorite word.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So when they teach you about a $2 million check, they don't teach you Uncle Sam cutting. He getting between 37 and 41%, depending on what state you is. They don't teach you when you buying a house, you still got to pay taxes on the house. They ain't teaching you with the upbringing of the house. You know, you got to make sure the yard and stuff clean. You got to make sure they ain't teaching you the HOA. They ain't teaching you none of that.
Right.
Because the people who's asking up for money, they don't know nothing about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
They just see that check.
we just a product of our environment. So we got to start educating each other early. For the ones who we think going, we got to start. But really, for me, it just boils down to, and I said again with my grandma, man. Grandma was like, you know, show me your friends, and I'll show you in the next couple of years
That's
where
right.
your butt gonna be.
That's right.
And for me, I've always wanted to blend in and not stand out. So when I was getting the money, I never wanted to shine.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I tell this story all the time. Like, you know, my owner's a billionaire owner, you know, and he pulled up in a Buick LeSabre. I pull up in a Ferrari. I said, dang, this dude write my checks.
He was in a Buick LeSabre.
Papa Rooney pulled up in the
What?
Buick LeSabre. I pulled up in a Ferrari in the all season. I said, oh, I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing this.
LeSabre.
I'm doing this man writing my checks, 52 other people checks, and he got a whole staff, and that's where he pull up in. So I was like, I said, Papa, how you pull up in the Buick? He said, you don't want people to know you got it. I said, oh, okay. But I was a product of my environment.
Right.
So that's all I knew was to shine, especially coming from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Birdman, stunting. All I knew was shine. You got it.
Get your
flaunt
shine
it.
on.
Shine. But little did I know, like, nah, you attract the wrong people.
Right.
But when you do go that route, when you do stay low key and stay under the radar, you see the people who really mess with you just cause.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to this day, I still rent a minivan just to see who look at me crazy or something like that, because I want to see what you think about me.
Right.
Now, when you see me go somewhere and everybody start hollering at me, you're like, who this dude is? But you just saw me pull up in the minivan, so you already gave me the indicator, like, I ain't messing with you.
Well,
You know
what you
what
call
I'm
him
saying?
said it on that movie. Denzel Washington said it on American Gangster. He told his brother, he said, the loudest person
In the room.
is always the weakest person. If he's shining or he's loud, it's always the weakest person in the room. So let me transition to this. Business. You have a cigar line that came out.
So it's me and my dog right here, Howard G. Cigars. I'm under his
Okay.
line, so he don't like me saying that, but that's why I say so. We business partners, and this came over during the pandemic.
Okay.
So, you know, he was working out with me during the pandemic, and honestly, for me, the pandemic has been two things for a lot of people. It's been a blessing, and it's been a curse. For us, it's been a blessing, but by the end of the day, it's just like the hard work we have put in. But with this cigar line, it just hit at the right time. Like, you know, I've been seeing him at the cigar bar for years. He been seeing me at the cigar bar for years. And he was like, bro, I'm about to start my own line. You should come up with me. It's going to be an all-pro series, I'm telling you.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, before I do that, you got to educate me, dog, because I don't want to just jump into it
Right.
and not know nothing about it. So how he educated me, he had me, we went down to Miami. He had me smoke 40 cigars.
Okay.
He was like, look, man, you're going to have to smoke some cigars, but it's going to be your palate. So this is going to be your cigar. And here's why I want this cigar to be your palate. I want this cigar to be your palate because it's a lot of athletes who just get a label on a cigar. And cigar smokers, they don't venture out. They probably got like 5 cigars that they really like.
I'm guilty of that.
You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
guilty.
So we don't venture off too much on what we like.
Right.
But if you do find something you like you're not going to feed us no BS tobacco. That's
Correct.
what true cigar smokers do. So how he wound up educating me, smoked 40, got it down to 10. 10, I got it down to 5. 5, I got it down to 2. And I'm like, this the one right here. So we had to go through the whole process. And I said, man, what's the best thing for me to do? And we both like drinking red wine. I'm like, man, I know red wine tastes good as long as it's aged. And we was like, well, we going to do the cigars like this. So that's exactly what we did. So we came out with a cigar line. And we really haven't pushed it on social media. We just old school with it, just networking and word of mouth.
Okay.
But the product sell itself. You know what I'm saying? When you got a good product, it's gonna sell. When you got a bunk product, it's not gonna sell. So right now our product just selling.
You from New Orleans? You said bunk. I ain't hear bunk in years, man. Bunk.
He took me back.
Right, bunk. So what's the name? What's the name of the cigar?
The cigar is called One of a Kind.
One of a
so
Kind.
It's 80% Nicaraguan, 20% Lancaster.
Okay.
PA. So and it's wrapped in it's a Sumatra. So it's a real smooth little stick. Even if you don't smoke, you know, you just need to put it in your humidor. Just put it somewhere in your house and just look at it because it's a nice. Matter of fact, Doc right now is that's the logo right there for the One of a Kind. So right now, man, that's what we're doing at Howard G Cigars. You know, that's what we're doing right now, man. It's been taking off. Like we always say, me and I always say, this one little stick can bring anybody together. Whether you're a garbage man or whether you're a CEO, I can sit down and we can chop it up all night just by smoking cigars and don't care what your occupation is.
Right.
So that's what I do like about cigars. And now women are getting to it heavy, black women included. They really starting to take over. It's like a bikers club.
Right.
So they starting to take over. So right now, man, it's just the thing to do, you know. And if you just look at history, people still live long smoking cigars.
And drinking red wine, you're right.
And drinking red wine.
Yeah.
So this been going on for years. So, man, I'm just passionate. I think people just see the passion with these cigars with us, and you know, and being educated with it. So, man, I just wanted a good product. And right now we have a good product, and we just pushing the old school word of mouth. So, you know, like
what cities can we find them?
Man, all over Florida. So you can go Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa. Hell, you can go to Indiana. Hell, you can get them online. You can catch them in Pittsburgh. Rocky Patel Burns in Pittsburgh. You can catch it in Atlanta at a Fellowship. We're looking to go to New Orleans, Houston. We about to pop it off. That's why we sitting here. Charlotte, North Carolina. So right now we just I tell them, man, we sling cigars and doing a cigar tour.
That's dope, man. In closing, this is one question that I want to know. Most of my friends that play ball, I ask them the same question. And Doc, you probably could get into this also, as far as the business side and the athlete. I know you touched on it a little bit, but how does a athlete that played as long as you played transition to business and put all that into that business as if they was playing on the field?
I mean, you can only drive one car. So you got to be passionate about one thing, then the other avenues are open. You know, if you just try to have a lot of avenues, you know, you'll never have the passion for whatever. So right now, I'm very passionate about training. I bought some land in Eustis, Florida, which is 45 minutes outside. So we're building a facility right now, indoor facility. So I'm very passionate about that. I wouldn't call that a job. I'm passionate about these cigars. I wouldn't call that a job. So I think people just, you know, like I was just trying to say earlier a couple of seconds ago, man, when you just stick to one thing, then the other avenues are open. When you try to do too much at one time, you really can't put the 100% into it. So I tell anybody going to business, whatever business you want to go into as a former athlete, be passionate about it and let that part of the business side open up other avenues.
Dope. It's dope. So, Doc, where can we find Overtime Academy?
Okay, so definitely www.overtime.team, TEAM. Check out our website. We're definitely on Instagram, Overtime Academy. And you know, we are in the business of having these conversations with athletes, and we have a parent program as well, where we're having conversations with the parents. We have something called Coaching Clinic as well, where we talk with coaches as well. Many of the coaches are having a lot of their challenges themselves. You know, they're having to manage these athletes, expectation from the alumni, expectation from the administration, and they need outlets as well. And so we're just comprehensive with ours, man, about just preparing our people moving forward. That's
Doc, I got a question for
yes,
you.
sir.
Since you was doing the research and since you, Doc, on the mental health issues, give me 3 things in your mind, just off of your research, what triggers mental health.
Okay. Well, a lot of us, and so I was taking notes when I was listening to you speak, so I'm going to answer your question, but I want to point this out. So Ike is spot on a lot of things that he's doing. I'm glad we got some young people in the audience because, first of all, you got to have God. You got to have a sense of spirituality. And what happens with that spirituality, it brings humility, and that keeps us grounded. And so I'm happy to say that that's your number one. The second thing is what we fail to do. I'll get this to you, Congo, if you need that later.
Right.
Is we got to assess. You got to sit down sometimes and reflect and say, how am I feeling? And I'll be perfectly honest with you. Right now, I'm not in the best mood. I got a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And once you honest with yourself, that's called a primary appraisal and assessment. Then you say, okay, what am I going to do about it? And then you may be a situation where, hell, this just might be emotional. Or it may be something that requires some type of action. Now I'm putting things in place, and too often we fail to do that assessment, so we just wallowing in the misunderstanding and the trauma.
Okay.
And so I like the fact that you reflect and you do some type of assessment. The next thing is, man, you hit it spot on. It's called positive affirmation. You got to have that self-talk within you, and you got to surround yourself around people who are having that same self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you from a neuroscience perspective, from a biological perspective, your brain creates the neurons that you tell it to create.
Okay.
So if you're saying, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, the brain say, okay, this fool thinks he's beautiful. So let me create some neurons. And I haven't heard him say he's fat, black, and ugly in a while, so let's prune that stuff out. Let's get that stuff out.
Right.
So your positive affirmation, believe it or not, is creating positive neurons. And so now the brain always wants to protect you. Okay, I know this fool getting ready to walk. So why would I start all over again? Let me just have everything ready for him to walk. So if he's saying positive things, let me create more things so that he can do more positive things. The next thing is you got to give back. When you giving back, God has blessed you. That brings upon a sense of appreciation.
Okay.
The fact that you're giving back. And so you doing the coaching thing, that's just profound. The last thing that I like, well, the last 2 things that I like is you got to have a sense of IQ. You know, and people got it all mixed up, man. They think formal education is the key, you know. I tell my students all the time, some of y'all need to be over in the welding department. Some of y'all need to be where your passion is.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have been saying, look, I stopped working a long time ago. I go somewhere and have fun and talk to kids all day long. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. And I go home and spend time with my family. So you got to have that sense of IQ. You got to continue to educate yourself. You could have easily just said, hey, man, find me a cigar, put my name on it, let's roll. You educated yourself.
Right.
And that education is contagious. It's just not with the cigars. It's everything that anything that you get involved with is contagious. And so that's the attitude we need to teach these young kids. Never settle for what somebody to give you. Critically think. Analyze, go through the process of understanding. It ain't costing you nothing.
Right.
And the last thing which I can appreciate about since the time that I've known you over the last, you gotta have respect. Okay. Yes, sir. No, sir. This man don't know me. But when you give respect, you get it.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Nah, you did.
But the trauma that we experienced, man, we got to take time and assess it and realize what's going on. Sometimes it's just emotional. And you sitting there, you let a week go by of emotion, let another week go by emotion. It's like, wait a minute, let me just see what's really going on. Or it may be action-based. And that's the foundation where we start from, bro. So.
Gotcha.
But and that makes sense because a lot of, not just athletes, it's people in general.
Right.
They go to their job every other week, and one week they might be great. Then the next 3 weeks might be like, man, I'm in the spot. I don't know what's wrong with me. My mind ain't right. Something ain't right.
But you got to ask yourself.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you always got to be. That's why, like, my homeboys I got still this day from New Orleans, like, they just tell me when I'm wrong. And I just got to acknowledge it because they're looking out for my best interest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I got to be like, yeah, I was tripping. You know what I'm saying? So that's and now as I get older, I'm doing a lot more apologizing. Okay. You know, at first, because I'm very stubborn. And I apologize, but it'll be an Ike apology. Instead of being, you know what, I was wrong, I was sorry.
Yeah.
it used to be, oh, my bad.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now it's like, you know what? You was right. I was wrong. I apologize. You know, so
nothing, bro.
yeah, it really don't. But yeah, it's just growing as a person, man. Yeah. Like you
evolving.
You got to.
Yeah, it's evolving.
Got to.
I told my wife the other day. I said, I learned how to use my words now.
Right.
I learned how to use my words. You know, instead of saying like, "Said my bad, I'm good," or whatever. Nah, I use my words. I talk about it.
Right. And that's all. That's all. Really talking about it too. For mental health for me is just talking to somebody. Mm-hmm. You know, not being stubborn, not holding it up, not being a volcano and just exploding at the wrong time. You know, and you know us as males, you know, we don't like to really talk and hit our sensitive side on things, but it's very helpful. You know what I'm saying? That's what I learned, like at a young age, because I was surrounded by 4 women. You know, my mom and my 3 sisters. So, you know, really all I had at a young age was to talk to them. So I learned that part on talking about it. You know, me and my sisters, we're real close. So I talk to them pretty much about everything. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I get, you know, that feminine perspective. And, you know, females think a little bit different than males, especially when it comes to that. But it's way more soothing when you talk to them. So for me, if I was to talk to anybody about mental health, man, express yourself to somebody. Sit down and talk to somebody, man. Like, just because you might be going through it, that person you talking to probably going through it too. So y'all can both work something out by just sitting. But if you just try to keep it in and hold it, right, you know, it's not going to work.
I like to tell you.
Let me add this too. So what I can appreciate about our culture now, African-American culture now, is mental health is coming to the forefront.
Yes.
And I'm excited about that. And so I think we're moving in a direction. This pandemic is real. You know, lives have been changed, natural disasters that are existing, and so I'm glad that the athletic world, the actress and actors and the celebrities and all of them are now encouraging mental health. Right. And so I'm excited about this movement.
And look, I'd like to thank you guys. First of all, I know you guys have a busy schedule. I know you guys got a lot of stuff lined up for.
We good, DJ. We trying to smoke a cigar, though.
That's what I'm saying. So,
we good, though.
So I like to say thank you.
Appreciate it.
First and foremost for you guys coming through.
Thank you, DJ.
And also, I know you say you have a facility coming. What else do you have coming?
I got a Connecticut rapper, the one-of-a-kind Connecticut rapper coming in January 2022. Let's just say early 2022. Okay. Got something you can smoke in the morning. So, you know, you can smoke this Connecticut one of a kind. It's super light. You can smoke that with your coffee or something. If you're on vacation and you want to drink some champagne, you know, with your mimosa or something, you can do that as well. That's coming out early 2022. Also, I have a rum coming out in dope. 2022, the day of my birthday, which is Cinco de Mayo. So got a few things coming, man. But what I'm most excited about is this training facility that I'm building, because I can't wait to get hands-on with these kids and these athletes and blase, and just seeing them mature. So I just try to create a positive environment. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm about. That negativity, man, just please leave me alone with it. So, you know, I just try to embrace people. I like to see the growth of people, and I hope people like to see the growth of me as well. So I just try to give time back, really. Just give a lot of time back, give a lot of my knowledge, football knowledge back, give a lot of where I messed up in life back so they don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want nobody to always think I'm perfect. Like I tell them my flawless points in my life than my flaws. I mean, my flaws instead of my flawless points. So I always tell them, like, you know, my best life lessons is things I messed up on. But this is what it's taught me, and this is where I am today. So, you know, and we just come back to what you said earlier, just dealing with adversity. Right. You know, embracing adversity. You know, life it's a lot easier when you embrace it. And when you know, man, you know, I will see the light at the end of the tunnel. I just don't know when, but absolutely, that's what it is.
Absolutely, guys. Look, there you have it. You see that background music? You know what time it is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not just doing it because you're from New Orleans. I do this every show now.
Okay.
So, but guys, I'd like to thank you guys for subscribing and coming in. For the guests, If you see Mr. Taylor in Houston or Florida, make sure
H-Town.
y'all give him a handshake. He gonna take you to check out some of them cigars. If you see Doc, holla at Doc. You gonna see Doc in Houston. Doc normally with me all the time, so look, just holla at me if you need anything to talk about with
What
mental
we
health.
subscribing to?
Oh, Culturally Distinct podcast. Culturally Distinct.
So make sure y'all subscribe at Culturally Distinct
That's right.
Podcast. Make sure if y'all smoking, go to Howard G Cigars. Get your one-of-a-kind cigar because it's one-of-a-kind for real. And if y'all doing anything driving, make sure y'all drive overtime. Holla at Izzy and holla at Doc.
We about to get out of here, y'all. I appreciate y'all. And look, Ike, you want to bust a freestyle before we get out of here on that beat? Hey, do it, baby.
Stick it, baby. Do it, baby. Stick it, baby.
I love y'all. Peace, man.
Peace.